Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the July 28th edition of Talk About It Tuesday. I'm joined here in the office with Anderson and Arjun. Some of our other staff are online. We are also going to be joined today by Chandler with DATAMARK for quarterly updates. Chandler, let me go ahead and make you co-host so you can share your screen.
Okay, perfect.
And we'll get started. Let's see, make co-host, and let me stop my.
Let's see if it'll
Let's see. Did I stop my share? I did.
All right, are you seeing my screen okay?
I can.
Okay, perfect. Great. Yeah. All right, well, thanks everybody for having us. If I haven't met you yet, I'm Chandler Lanier. I'm the new product owner for VEP. And then I've also got Kyle Ferris and I think Matt Albritton on to help answer some of your questions at the end also. As you might know, our Q2 release, VEP 2026.2.1, went live just a couple weeks ago on July 13th. So everything we're covering today is already in production. We've got a good mix of new features, of usability improvements, and also a lot of bug fixes to walk through. So I'll go through everything first, and then we can open it up at the end for questions. All right, just a quick refresher on our release cadence. We follow a quarterly cycle with releases typically in March, June, September, and December. Like I said, this is our Q2 release, even though it landed in early July this time around. And then between quarterly releases, sometimes you'll see us push out hotfixes and intermediary releases as needed. And then just a heads up on our Q3 release. Right now it's scheduled for the end of September, but you'll of course see some more communications coming out as that gets a little bit closer. Just a high level look at what's included in this release. We've added downloadable geometry markups from our upload pre-checks. We've added a new data recency report for aggregators. We've improved our error messaging on uploads. And then we've also added the ability to run legacy validations separately. I do want to call out that this was a pretty big release. As you know, we pushed out our modern release at the end of May, which was a pretty significant effort. So now that that's out the door, you'll start seeing more bug fixes and enhancements as we get back into kind of our normal flow. So I'll go into this release in a little bit more detail. First up, we have a change to our aggregations, and that is to our ready for aggregation emails. These notifications now include the name of the jurisdiction that was marked ready. So before this update, you'd get the notification, but then have to go into the system to figure out which jurisdiction it was for. But now it's right in the email. So this applies to immediate, scheduled, and recurring notification settings. And I'll point out also on each slide in the header, you'll notice some letters E, V, or A, and that just lets you know if the change applies to editor, validator, or aggregator instances, so you know which changes impact your workflow. We've also added a new custom report, and that is that data recency report, and that just shows you how fresh each jurisdiction's data is. So it displays the most recent upload, validation, and aggregation dates for each jurisdiction, along with a details tab showing the last 5 dates for each of those processes. And this can be run for a single jurisdiction, a selection, or all of them at once. This was actually a request out of this group, so we're really grateful for that feedback and excited to have a solution in place. Moving on to our uploads, we've got a few improvements here, so I'll go into each of those. So first up, upload pre-checks now include a downloadable geometry markup point feature class alongside the existing Excel report. And both of those files come packaged together in a zip file. So before the change, geometry issues could be a little bit difficult to pinpoint from just the Excel file, but now you can pull that spatial file and go directly to the problem features. So it should cut down on time spent on remediation. We've also made improvements to our upload error messaging. So first of all, when invalid external NGUIDs are found during upload verification, the system now tells you which specific data layer the issue's in. So it should make it a lot faster to identify and address the problem rather than having to dig through every one of those layers to find it. And then second there, we've cleaned up an error message for shapefile geometry issues, just made it a little bit more understandable, and you can see it, the before and the after in those two images at the bottom. So it just kind of gives you some more clear instructions. We've also moved the button on the upload field map corner. You can see it circled in the top right up there. It was previously at the bottom of the page and was a little bit easy to miss. So if you don't see that button, you end up mapping fields manually, which can be a lot of extra work for no reason. Are you still hearing and seeing me okay? Okay, I'm getting some notifications of like low network bandwidth, but if everything's running smoothly, we're all set.
Yeah,
Just let me know if anything changes. Okay. So those were the upload improvements, and I'll go over our automated uploads. So we've made a change to our automated upload failure notifications. So when an automated upload fails outside the verification step, the failure notification now gives more details about what specifically went wrong. And those details show up in the upload requests additional info column, which you can see highlighted there, as well as in the failure email. So just gives you the context you need to diagnose and resolve the issue. We've also got a change to our MSAG generator. So the MSAG generator now supports generating files by jurisdiction. So our aggregators can select one, multiple, or all jurisdictions using a new jurisdiction selector, which you can see highlighted. And then that generated file also includes a jurisdiction column, so records can be traced back to the source. And those results reflect the most recently aggregated data for each selected jurisdiction. This was another enhancement requested by you all. Previously, the MSAG files could only be generated for all jurisdictions at once, but now you have the flexibility to target specific ones. Moving on to our validation enhancements. You can now run legacy validations separately from the address point and road centerline validations. So this will allow you to compare legacy and GIS data sets without getting like unrelated anomalies mixed into your standard validation results. We also knocked out a validation bug fix in this release, and that is to Val 65. So the road centerline not contained within boundary check. It was incorrectly flagging road center lines that were properly snapped to the provisioning boundary edges, and that's been resolved. So you should see fewer false positives in your validation results going forward. So we'll go into the remaining bug fixes. Like I said, after our modern release, stability was definitely a core focus for us. We really wanted to make sure the tool was as reliable as possible coming off of that effort. So I'll go into what we've fixed there. So first up, our aggregation reliability. We resolved some issues that could cause regional or statewide aggregations to fail, especially when notification recipient lists were too large or when unsupported data sets required cleanup. For our automated downloads, we had an issue where scheduled nightly downloads could fail during long running jobs, and that's been fixed. So those exports should complete more reliably also. The post edits button in the admin tool could previously be clicked multiple times while it was processing, which could then create duplicate submissions, which was a little bit of an issue, but that's been disabled after the first click now. So detached editing uploads would fail if some layers contained no edits also, and that's working correctly now. So detached data sets can be uploaded a lot more smoothly. And then there was an issue where related table records with blank number fields couldn't be saved in the edit tool, and that's been resolved. All right. For our external map services, our multi-layer feature services were only showing the first layer, and our group layer services weren't rendering correctly, and both of those have been fixed. For our observations, deleting or saving observations could fail in certain cases, and we've made that a lot more reliable, especially when adding additional email recipients. And then viewing related records, the workflow in the attribute table was navigating to the wrong layer when multiple map services were in use, and that's been corrected also. Right. Our road centerline session layers were showing kind of these overly thick lines during edit sessions, and that symbology now shows consistently, and it no longer blocks address ranges or directional arrows. Our road centerline labels were also appearing as overlapping or repeated text, which you might have noticed. Those now display the correct street name information in both the edit and the admin tools. And then lastly, there was an issue saving a new template after uploading a related table, where values in existing templates were being overwritten. So that's been fixed, and saved templates keep their values now when switching between them. And our last group of bug fixes, we had an issue where replace all uploads for dynamic related tables could break relationships for previously uploaded related tables, and that's been fixed, and those existing relationships are preserved. We also resolved an error that came up during verification when uploading an empty data set that included a dynamic related table. And then lastly, we found an issue where file geodatabase uploads could fail with an invalid file type when a feature data set and feature class shared the same name. So that edge case is handled. So like I said, we did a lot of bug fixes with this release, but the tool should be feeling a lot more solid across the board, and we're going to keep that momentum going into Q3. But that pretty much covers everything in our Q2 release, or at least the big items. Like I mentioned, the release went live a couple weeks ago, so you should already be seeing the changes. And I do want to say a couple of the things that we covered today came directly from feedback from this group, and that's something that we take really seriously. So when you bring something to our attention, we really try to get it into release, and that's exactly the kind of input that helps us build a better product. So please keep that coming. And with that, I will open it up. Happy to take any questions.
Anybody, if you did, Scott Warner, raise your hand. Come on, let's see what you have to say.
Sure. There was a bug fix you talked about in the auto download, I think. What's the auto, is that, can you expand on the auto download fix? Because I don't recall that feature.
Let's see. Which one are you referencing? Auto download?
Right there. Auto download reliability.
Fixed an issue where scheduled nightly downloads could fail during long-running jobs. Automated data export should now complete more reliably. Kyle, do you know off the top of your head a little bit more information about that particular bug fix?
Yeah, I'm not too sure if your in particular jurisdiction has auto download set up. It's not something that you can set up through VEP. It's something we set up on the back end. I'm just off the top of my head, I'm not sure if you have that set up through your jurisdiction, but we do have the capability of setting up downloads that trigger, in the middle of the night, weekly, monthly, however you want to set up, and it downloads your data, puts it in an S3 bucket, and then you're able to access that download that way. But again, I'm not sure if your jurisdiction is set up for automated downloads off the top of my head.
Is that separate from the premium auto upload? Because we are that jurisdiction.
Yeah, those are separate. Automated upload is a separate premium feature when compared to automated downloads.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Bo.
Yeah, Scott, that is something we do not currently have configured on any of our DEP deployments. But we can have a conversation about it if you'd like to later.
All right, will do.
Anybody else, if you want to drop a message in the chat, I am watching it, or feel free to unmute yourself.
I'd like to say a little bit. Chandler touched on it a couple of times throughout the update that several of these enhancements came directly from feedback out of this office, and that's something I talk about whenever we have a quarterly release, that DATAMARK is always listening to feedback from stakeholders regarding how they can improve their product, and they take it to heart and they develop their product based on that feedback. Two big major enhancements released in this release are the data recency report. I get questions a lot about, well, is my GIS analyst or is my third-party vendor keeping my data in VEP up to date? And that product used to take me about a day to prepare based on reporting and parts and pieces within VEP. So I usually only produce that document prior to a board meeting, which, as y'all well know, is now quarterly. So knowing that change was coming, I asked DATAMARK to be able to produce, with the touch of a button, a report that document. So that is a big enhancement, especially going into the fall as we RFP next generation 911 core services and functional elements, where your GIS data will directly impact geospatial call routing as well as location validation. So it is imperative that we keep the GIS up to date, and this is a way to keep track of that. The other is in concert with that, the MSAG download by jurisdiction. Previously, you could only download a statewide GIS derived MSAG. You now have the ability to download an MSAG based on your GIS data and implement that in your local production MSAG, as well as send that to a digital for a GIS derived MSAG. So that is a massive enhancement that I'm really, really excited about. And, I always encourage the GIS and the 911 community to provide me their feedback for enhancements to VEP because DATAMARK always takes those to heart. And it may not show up in next quarter's release, but they put it on their roadmap and I don't know what the right word is, incentivize it or put more importance on it if it comes from the state of Alabama. So we appreciate DATAMARK for everything they do and their ability to take feedback and modify their product accordingly.
Yeah, we do really appreciate all the feedback, and we're always open to any suggestions you have, any asks, and we definitely do place more importance on the things that you guys recommend to us because it does help us make a better product. You guys are in there using it, so we want to make it work for you. And yeah, we note that it was requested by the state of Alabama, and that does increase our priority a little bit. So keep that coming.
I don't see anything in the chat. Does anybody else have anything for Chandler? Chandler, I appreciate you joining us today, you and Kyle and Matt. And I'll be in touch in next quarter so we can do this again with you.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah. If any questions come up, feel free to reach out to us. And then we've also got our release notes in the DATAMARK support center as well. So feel free to reference those. But thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chandler. Let me get back to our slideshow here. Are y'all seeing my slides? Because we're not.
Yeah.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. It's okay. All right. Well,
looks like a blank screen on our side.
We handled some questions. Okay, I don't think Laura's been able to join us. I think she's in a class this morning. So this is some of our upcoming training that is available to, you can register for this training through the My Alabama 911 app. We've got quite a bit in North Alabama in the next, I guess about 6 weeks. This is a class in conjunction with OTM Cyber. It's going to be at Colbert County 911 on September 9th. And again, you can register for this through the My Alabama 911 app. You want to take this, Anderson?
Oh, hey! Sorry, again, it's a blank screen. For those that follow us on social media, there has been some change in roles and responsibilities within the organization, and I had the great pleasure of onboarding Rachel Morrison yesterday as our brand newly minted Alabama 911 Board GIS Program Manager. Should I give a little background or just turn it over to Rachel? I'll give a little bit of background. How about that, Rachel? To tee you up. Rachel comes to us previously from InDigital, where she was the GIS product manager for, I believe, 3 years. And prior to that, she served Blount County 911 as the GIS manager there. Rachel brings over 10 years of experience in GIS in both public and private sector GIS, and we're excited to have her on board.
Rachel, you want to say anything?
Maybe not.
We didn't give her much of a heads up that we were going to put her on the spot. All right.
Oh, I
think someone
She's
whispered.
speechless,
Oh.
Brandon says.
I'll leave people that way sometimes.
All right, just a reminder, one of the, Rachel says she's having some audio issues. That's fine, Rachel. We're having some video issues this morning.
You'll get to see plenty of her at the AA&D workshop the end of this week. So
Right. Just a reminder that one of the initiatives is to try to let the public know about text to 911. And so just make sure that you're signed in, that all of your telecommunicators are signed in to accept text messages. All right, our next big announcement is we are transitioning away from al911board.com to al911.gov. So you'll notice that all of our email addresses and our website are now the al911.gov. For an indeterminate amount of time, the al911board.com will be available, but make sure that your IT department knows that they need to whitelist the al911.gov, and when you're communicating with us, that's the domain to use now. All right, as Anderson mentioned, the AAND workshop is at the end of this week in Prattville. Rachel, Caleb, Jesse, and our board chair, Brandon Wallace, will all be speaking at that event on different topics. But be sure to make plans to come down and see what's going on there. Another important note, and I'm not sure there's a slide on it, there are 2 or 3 board openings that will be voted on at the business meeting for AAND. You do have to be a paid member of AAND in order to be eligible for that board position and to vote for that board position. So check into that before you head down to Prattville. Okay, my list of regular reminders. Don't forget that your legacy and your PST certification reimbursement forms, if they are turned in by the 10th of the month, they are generally paid out at the end of the month. Grant cycle status reports are due on the 30th, which I think is Thursday. Yeah, because today's 28th. So if you've got an open grant with us, your grant cycle status report is due by before the end of the week. And maybe I can do this looking at it on the screen. My screen's working. Our big screen up here is not. Upload, validate, aggregate your GIS data to the state office VEP every 2 weeks.
That I actually forgot to mention. I had a three-part bulletin that I wanted to mention, the DATAMARK thing. This gives me a good opportunity to interject. Arjun, who is to our left, has been on staff for about 7 months now, and he has spent the better part of the last at least 2 weeks working very closely with DataMark, both in training, generally with VEP, and specifically with data remediation and validation resolution, to in partnership with Hale County to assist them with their client verify coming out of data remediation to get their data fully compliant with the minimum GIS data standards for functional element compliance. The goal of that is to have Arjun be that GIS resource you may or may not have within your local 911 center. Previously, those who remember Anita Jackson, she served at one point 17 different 911 centers in different varying capacities of GIS assistance. And that is the goal for Arjun coming out of this training. So if you are kind of lost with your client verify or how to upload to VEP or any of your GIS woes, please reach out to us, and we have been preparing Arjun to be that resource for you guys.
And if Miss Jennifer ma'am is on the call, I'll be reaching out to you soon.
Jennifer Robertson?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I think she was earlier. All right, new staff slide here. As you can see, we are growing. There are now 10 boxes on this slide, and with our new email addresses. So if you've got anything that you need from any of us, this is how you would reach out to us, either via phone or email. Does anybody have any questions?
Is Daniel?
Thank you. Daniel is on.
Daniel, did you have anything to add to the .gov transition? You may not. I'm putting you on the spot.
No, not really. Just as long as everybody gets added to their email filters, that'll just be really helpful. If you email to us and it happens to use the old email address, all of that will still be delivered. We're going to leave that running for as long as, I mean, for the foreseeable future. But any way we can to just push towards the al911.gov.
Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things is just make sure your IT department understands that we are changing our domain, and they may need to keep an eye on whatever's spam filter that they use to make sure our emails are not getting caught in those with the new domain.
I'll add one more thing. It's just that if you use Alabama EMD, a lot of people have it preset to emd.al911board.com. That is still active right now. It is not a redirect, but we want to try and get everyone we can to switch to emd.al911.gov because that one will be shut down before too long.
Okay, all right. We'll need to make sure to get that out in the next newsletter. So remind me on that.
All right.
All right. Well, if we don't have any questions, y'all have a good week. Oh, just a quick reminder. I think since with most of you who have joined us probably saw the announcement in the newsletter, and I think it also went out on social media. We are now only doing these talk about. That's a mouthful. We are doing Talk About It Tuesday webinars once a month on the fourth Tuesday. The goal is to provide you with more quality information and make it just a little easier on us. These are a little bit to produce, not great, but we may have other Talk About It Tuesdays in between the once a month if there is a needed topic that y'all need to know about more quickly. But just once a month, registration will be required, and you'll get notice of these in both newsletters. So you'll be able to plan accordingly well in advance on being able to attend. And if you've got a topic you want to talk about or you want us to talk about, email me, or there is a link on our website to a form that you can submit to me. So no more questions. Nobody else has anything else to say. We will say goodbye until
A month from now.
well, for Talk About It Tuesday and the end of the week at AAND.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing everybody who will be there at AAND.